Hello and welcome to Kahani Suno with Kabir and Sara. I'm Kabir and today I'm bringing you an original story written and produced right here at Kahani Suno called The House Between Seconds. This is a sci-fi thriller, but it's not about rockets or robots or distant galaxies. It's about something far closer to home and far more unsettling. It's about time and what happens when one ordinary man stumbles onto a place where time doesn't work the same way. Settle in, this one's going to take you somewhere you won't forget. It was a field trip, the kind every school organizes, a few hours in a nearby nature reserve, fresh air, a bit of flora and fauna, and a teacher counting heads every 5 minutes. The group was small, 7 teachers, 25 children, and among them a boy named John Rayton. 7 years old, curious, quiet, the kind of kid who stops to stare at a bird longer than he should. Which is exactly what happened. The group moved, John didn't. He was watching something in the trees, a flash of wings, a sound he couldn't place, and by the time he looked up, the trail was empty. The voices were gone. The footsteps had faded. John was alone. The teacher noticed within minutes. They searched, they called his name until their voices went hoarse. And when they couldn't find him, they called the police. Officers arrived within half an hour. The boy had been missing for less than an hour at that point. They searched the reserve, every trail, every clearing. No John. 1 day passed. 2 days passed. The school was in crisis. The parents were devastated. The police expanded their search. The local news picked it up. 7-year-old boy lost in forest reserve. And then, on the morning of the 3rd day, there he was. Standing at the edge of the trail, same clothes he had left in, not torn, not muddy. He didn't look frightened. He didn't look exhausted. He looked fresh, like he'd just woken up from a good night's sleep. His water bottle, still full. He hadn't touched it. The investigator who found him crouched down and asked gently, "John, where did you go?" And John said, "I just went into a house. It was just nearby, a big building between the trees. I went in, looked around for a bit, and came back. It was only like 10 minutes. 10 minutes? The investigator looked at his team. 2 days had passed. "Can you show us this house, John?" The boy nodded and led them into the trees, and then stopped, turned around, looked confused. It was right here," he said. "I don't understand. It was right here." There was no house, no building, no structure of any kind. The investigators wrote it off. The boy must have been unconscious. Perhaps he'd fallen, hit his head, lost track of time. Children's mind fill in the blanks with vivid details. It happens. The school received a formal warning. John was returned to his parents, and life went on. 15 years later, John Rayton was not doing well. He dropped out after his 12th grade. A falling out with his family, a relationship that had ended badly, a slow, corrosive slide into alcoholism and had cost him most of his friendships and nearly all of his self-respect. He was alone, he was broke, and he was trying one day at a time to get clean. One evening, scrolling through old photographs on his phone, he stopped. A photo from that day, the school trip. He's standing with a group of kids at the edge of the forest, squinting into the sun, backpack straps digging into his small shoulders. And something unlocked his mind, not vaguely, not distantly, clearly, like a door swinging open after 15 long years. The house, he could see it, the way the trees parted just enough, the door slightly ajar, the dimness inside, the strange dial on the wall, its hands spinning in a way that didn't feel right, the clean dining table, the sound of voices upstairs. He hadn't imagined it. He knew that now. He had always known. He needed to go back. Not because he had a plan, not because he understood what the house was, but because for the first time in years, he had something, a question, a mystery that was his, and a man who has nothing left to lose can walk toward almost anything. He drove to the forest reserve the next morning, parked his car, laced up his boots, and he walked in. He followed what memories he had, impressions from a 7-year-old mind, 15 years old, the way the light had fallen, the direction he thought he'd wandered, the specific silence that had surrounded the building. 3 hours in, then 4, and then, through a gap in the trees, a shape, a structure. Large, stone and wood, half swallowed by the forest, like the trees had been slowly growing around it for decades. John stopped. That's it. He approached, and then, and there, hanging just inside the doorway, was that dial he remembered, not a pressure gauge. He realized now. It was a clock, an old handmade clock with hands that moved far, far too quickly. He stepped inside. He called out, "Hello, is anyone here?" No answer from the ground floor, but upstairs, voices. 2 men talking something. Horse races, it sounded like. Animated, absorbed, completely unaware of the strangers standing in their kitchen. John looked around. The house was not abandoned. It was lived in. Clean dishes, a coat on the hook, a half-drunk cup of tea on the counter. He decided not to disturb them. He was trespassing. He would simply leave. He walked back to the front door, stepped outside. It was early morning. He had entered at 2 p.m. He walked to his car and stopped dead when he saw the date on the dashboard display. 2 days had passed. He sat in the driver's seat for a long time, hands on the wheel, not moving. Then slowly, carefully, he started to calculate. He had been inside for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And 2 days had passed outside. 1 hour inside, roughly 1 week outside. The house didn't just bend time, it consumed it. Think about what you would do right now in this moment. If you knew about a place like this, would you go back? John did, and it cost him and saved him in ways he never expected. Back to the story. A month after his discovery, John's phone rang. An unfamiliar number, but the voice he knew immediately. His cousin, Mike. Mike was speaking fast, hushed, the kind of voice that has already looked over its shoulder twice before dialing. He wanted to meet a cafe a kilometer from John's apartment. And don't drive, walk. Don't bring your regular phone. John went. Mike was sitting in the corner, facing the door, jacket still on. He looked like a man who hadn't slept properly in days. What Mike told him, in fragments, in whispers, was this. He had gotten involved with the wrong people, a cartel. He was in possession of something that wasn't his, a car, parked near a mall 2 kilometers away. Inside the car, two large boxes. He needed John to collect the car, take it to his apartment, hold it until Mike arrived that evening. If Mike didn't arrive, get rid of the car. Whatever is inside it, it's yours. Consider it payment. John pushed back. I don't want any part of this. Mike leaned across the table. That's why I called you from a payphone. That's why I asked you to walk. No one knows your name. No one knows your face. All you're doing is moving a car. John agreed. He found the car, he drove it back, he waited. Evening came, then night, then the next morning. Mike never arrived. A call from another cousin, the kind of call that turns your legs cold, confirmed it. Mike was dead. The cartel had found him. John sat with the silence for a long time. Then he opened the car. Two large boxes in the boot. He opened one. Cash, stacked, bundled, organized. More money than John had seen in his entire life. He closed the box. He thought about going to the police. He thought about running. He thought about a dozen terrible options. And then, slowly, one idea rose above all the others. The house. He calculated it backwards. If 1 hour inside equals 1 week outside, then 4 days inside equals roughly 2 years outside. 2 years was enough for a cartel to move on, to assume the money was gone, to stop looking. He needed to disappear for 2 years without actually going anywhere. He told his parents he was moving to another state for work, paid his rent in advance, disconnected his phone, packed the cash from the boxes into a large hiking backpack, abandoned the car at the forest parking lot, and walked in. He found the house faster this time, almost like it was easier to find when he needed it most. He slipped inside quietly. 2 men upstairs were still there, still talking about those horse races, like barely any time had passed since his last visit, which, for them, it probably hadn't. John found a storeroom on the ground floor, small, dark, just enough space. And there he stayed 4 days, listening to the sounds of a house being lived in above him. Footsteps, cooking smells, low conversations, while outside the world turned 2 full years without him. On the 4th day before dawn, he gathered his pack and slipped out the front door. He noticed immediately the trees had grown, the trail markings were weathered, small things but unmistakable. He walked to the parking lot. The abandoned car was gone. The cartel had found it, they'd taken it, and with it, presumably, the empty boxes. As far as they were concerned, the money had vanished with the car. John walked home. The backpack was still full. He turned his life around, quietly, carefully. No flash, no spectacle. He started a small business. He got clean, properly clean this time. He rebuilt what he could with his family. He moved forward. He never told anyone about the house. Who would believe him? A recovering alcoholic who claimed he hid in a time-warping building in a forest reserve for 4 days while 2 years passed outside. He went back once, just to look. He walked the trail for hours. The house wasn't there. Maybe it moves. Maybe it chooses. Maybe it only appears to the people who are meant to find it. John didn't know. And slowly he stopped needing to. He had wondered in those 4 days in the dark of that storeroom what the house was. A portal, a wormhole, something placed there deliberately. By whom? For what purpose? He couldn't say. He was, as far as he could tell, the only person who had ever seen it. The police had missed it, the investigators had missed it, a whole forest reserve full of hikers had missed it for decades. Only John Rayton, a 7-year-old boy who drifted off a trail to watch a bird, had stumbled through its door. Maybe that's all it takes. Maybe the universe doesn't need a reason. Maybe sometimes the door is just slightly ajar, and all you have to do is step through. So, this was The House Between Seconds, an original Kahani Suno story written for you. I am Kabir. Thank you for listening. And before you go, Sarah is coming back next week. Her series, 9 Lives, continues, 9 stories. You don't want to miss where she takes you next. Until then, keep listening, keep imagining. Kahani Suno with Kabir and Sarah.